What's up, guys? Welcome to Acoustic Lesson number 2. My name is Levi again. If you are watching this video, I am believing that you know a good bit of the components that make up an acoustic guitar and just the importance of acoustic in worship and why you are learning this instrument. And so today I'm going to break down a little bit of music theory about the guitar and about the notes on a guitar, and so we can start building chords. So my goal for this is by the time this lesson is over, you kind of understand what music really is, and we can start really building chords and start really pursuing how to play the guitar, okay? So, in music, not just guitar, just in music in general, if you were going to play a bass or you were going to play a piano or something with that, there is a thing what I would consider the music alphabet, okay? So, the music alphabet is not from A to Z. The music alphabet is from A to G. Okay, so if you want to pull out your folder, in your folder, you're going to have a picture of the whole guitar neck, okay, with letters on each fret and each string all the way across, okay? But there's no way that you can possibly memorize the whole fretboard. You can't go to, it's really hard, you can I guess, but it's really hard to go to this note on the guitar and know that it's whatever note that is, okay? So I'm going to explain the music alphabet a little bit. It's A through G, okay? And between every letter, there is A to G. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G are all whole notes in music, okay? Now, between every whole note or a whole step, there is a half note or a half step. So let's just break it down. A to G, okay? And again, let me back up just a second. So half steps between each whole step from A to G, except for between B and C and E and F. Now, I'm going to go through the music alphabet, and once I do that, you guys will better understand what I'm talking about. So you have A flat, which is a half step, A, which is a whole step, B flat, which is a half step, B, which is a whole step. Now, there's no half step between B and C, so it goes straight to C, D flat, which is a half step, D, which is a whole step, E flat, which is a half step, E, which is a whole step. Now, there's no half step between E and F, so it goes straight to F, which is a whole step, G flat, which is a half step, then G, okay, which is a whole step. Then it starts all over, okay? So just to say it faster, it goes A flat, A, G flat, G. I messed that up. A flat, A, B flat, B, C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G. Okay? Now, where I'm saying those flats in between, it's kind of like it's stepping its way up all the way. So like, you know, your whole steps are A, then B. Well, the half step between that is what? B flat. Now, that B flat can also be called a sharp, which would be A sharp. So B flat could be called A sharp or B flat. Now, for the sake of making it easier, I think for right now, just to get that in your head, that thought process in your head, I want to call the half notes in music flats for right now. So A flat A, B flat B, C, D flat D, E flat E, F, G flat, G. Okay, so that's what we're going to consider. So just to put that in terms, if you will get your sheet out with all the notes on a guitar, we're going to start with the low E string, which is your first string on your guitar, okay? So open, which means I don't have any fingers on any notes, that's an E string, right? So if I take my finger and I go on the first fret of the E string, that's a whole step up because there's no half step between E and F. So this is a F note on the guitar. If I go up to the second fret of my E string, that would be a G flat, okay? That would be a G flat. If I go up to the third fret, that would be a G. Okay, so each note is divided by a fret on each string, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go through it really quick just to kind of give you guys like a basis. So maybe if I do this, you can see it a little bit better. I'm just E, so E, F, G flat, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, no half step, C, D flat, D. Y'all see my dog back there? I told y'all she'd be sneaking up in our videos. Okay, so that's kind of how the basis of that works. Now, the same thing. Whatever your root note is on the guitar, go on, Sadie, go. So, like, if we go to the A string, okay, which is the second string on your guitar, it's open, so that's an A. So if I put my first finger on the first fret of the A string, that becomes what? A B flat. B, C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G. Okay? So, and that goes for any string on the guitar with any fret. So again, for practice, okay? If I go to the D string, let's see, the D string, which is your third string, and I start, that's going to be E flat, E, F, what's this? G flat, G. Okay? So then it starts all over in the musical alphabet. So then it goes A flat, A, B flat, B. Okay? So just a little practice exercise for you guys once this is done. Again, I don't want you to memorize every note of the guitar, but I want you to understand how to figure out what every note on the guitar is. So if somebody says, if when we meet up in our breakout sessions this month, I say, hey, what is, if you put your first finger on the fifth fret of the G string, or of the E string, which is this note, that right there, I want you to be able to, and I ask you, what note is that on the guitar? I want you to be able to go, well, if you want to find that, you would go E, F, G flat, G, A flat, A. That's an A note. Okay, so just kind of sit down with your folder with all the notes on the guitar and just kind of go through it and say, okay, E, F, G flat, G. Okay, kind of do that, and then once you get that, go through A. So A, B flat, B flat, B, C. Okay, so it's really easy. It's almost like counting, as long as you remember that the half notes do not exist between B and C and E and F. Okay, so that's one thing you can work on. Okay. So now that we have a little bit of background on theory and how music works, what makes up music is chords. okay? What makes up chords are notes. That's why it's important to know where your notes are on the guitar, okay? And the cool thing about worship is you can, there's different keys in music, okay? So somebody may sing in the key of A. Somebody may sing in the key of G, okay? So the cool thing about worship is you can play almost any song that you want to in the key of G. So what we're going to do in the next couple lessons, we are going to break down all the chords in the key of G, okay? So I'm going to end the session right here. I feel like this is a good place to end. And in lesson 2 of your folder, again, grab that notebook, grab that folder, sit down with it, and just work your way through each note for each string, okay? And if you get lost, look at your notebook and see where you're at, and just kind of get familiar with that note. Okay, so just kind of to recap of everything that we've learned. In music, chords make music. In order to make a chord on a guitar, you have to understand the notes of a guitar. Okay? And in order to do that, you have to understand that there's a music alphabet that goes from A to G with half notes between every letter except for B and C and E and F. And the notes that you press down on a guitar will make what we call a chord, okay? So just to kind of give you, like, to put this practical, okay? So we're gonna be in the key of G. So the first thing I'm going to teach you is a G chord. So in order to find a G chord, E, F, G flat, G. That's a G note, right? So that's going to be your root note of the chord G. Now, there's other things that you have to do, but if you understand, if you can find your root note, you understand what makes up a G chord, right? So, in the next lesson, we're going to be learning 2 chords. We're going to start breaking down the key of G. Awesome, guys. Can't wait to start the next lesson.